In Japan, I noticed something strange about money. People weren't necessarily spending less because they earned less. They were making spending feel more deliberate. A notebook on the table, cash separated for different purposes, a fixed amount for personal spending. Even the way people thought about old, unused things seemed different. It felt less like extreme budgeting and more like designing your life so unnecessary spending had fewer chances to happen. So Hana, explain this for us. Quick note first. These aren't 7 rules that every Japanese household follows. They're practices and ideas associated with Japanese household money management and culture. And what's interesting is that most of them don't require more discipline. They simply create friction between you and the purchase, starting with the one that turns an entire paycheck into a boundary. 1. Okuzukai, the allowance system. In some Japanese households, one partner manages household finances, while the other receives a fixed personal allowance, known as okuzukai. It sounds restrictive until you understand the psychology. Your personal spending has a ceiling before the month even begins. Coffee, lunch, hobbies, small purchases. Once the allowance is gone, the decision has already been made. You don't have to negotiate with yourself every afternoon. That's powerful, because most overspending doesn't happen during one giant purchase. It happens through hundreds of tiny decisions. A fixed allowance removes some of those decisions before they happen. The goal isn't to control another adult. It's to create a clear line between household money and guilt-free personal money. 2. Kakeibo, the notebook that makes spending visible. Kakeibo literally means household account book. The idea became famous in Japan through a handwritten approach to managing money. At the beginning of the month, you look at what came in, what must go out, and what you want to save. Then you record spending and review it. There's something strangely uncomfortable about writing down a purchase yourself. Your banking app can quietly record $20 at a convenience store and you barely notice. But writing, "I spent this because I wanted it," forces you to see the decision. Kakeibo turned spending from a transaction into a conversation with yourself. What did I buy? Why did I buy it? Could I have avoided it? What should change next month? You don't need perfect discipline when your spending is difficult to ignore. 3. Make spending physically noticeable. Japan is becoming increasingly cashless. Cashless payments reached 58% of consumer payments in 2025, according to Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. But physical cash still teaches an interesting psychological lesson. When you hand over a bill, you see something leave your possession. A digital payment can feel almost weightless. Research on the so-called cashless effect has found that people can spend more when payment feels less tangible. So you can recreate the old friction without abandoning modern banking. Pick one category where you constantly overspend. Food, entertainment, shopping. Withdraw only that week's amount. When the money is gone, the category closes. Suddenly, "Can I afford this?" has a physical answer. 4. Give every yen a job. Kakeibo can be paired with something even simpler, separating money into categories before you spend it. Food, transportation, bills, leisure, savings. The psychology is simple. One large bank balance creates the feeling that everything is available. But if your account shows $3,000, that doesn't mean you have $3,000 to spend. Some of it already belongs to rent. Some belongs to bills. Some belongs to your future. Separating money creates boundaries before temptation arrives. An envelope doesn't tell you that you overspent after the month is over. It tells you while there's still time to make a decision. 5. Mottainai. Waste is expensive. Mottainai is a Japanese concept often associated with regret over waste and respect for the value contained in an object or resource, and financially, it creates a completely different question. Most consumer culture asks, "How much can I save by buying this?" Mottainai asks, "How much more value can I get from what I already own?" That changes the direction of your attention. Instead of replacing the shirt because it's old, repair it. Instead of throwing away leftovers, use them differently. Instead of buying another version of something you already own, ask whether the existing one can do the job. The cheapest purchase is sometimes the one you never need to make. 6. Danshari. Stop the purchase before it enters your home. Danshari is associated with letting go of unnecessary possessions and reducing attachment to things, but financially, the most powerful part happens before the checkout button. Don't ask, "Where can I store this?" Ask, "Would I still want this 5 years from now?" Because the price tag isn't the full cost. Every object takes space. It needs cleaning, storage, maintenance, and eventually disposal. Modern shopping makes acquiring things incredibly easy. 1 click, 2 clicks, delivered tomorrow. Danshari adds the question that technology removed: do I actually need this? The cheapest clutter is the clutter you never buy. 7. Decide what happens to unexpected money before it arrives. Japan has a long tradition of salary bonuses, although how workers are compensated varies widely. And that creates an interesting financial lesson. A regular paycheck quickly becomes attached to regular expenses. Your brain starts treating the money as normal. A bonus feels different. It's separate, which means you can make a decision about it before lifestyle inflation gets there. Save some, invest some, use some for a planned expense, enjoy some. The exact percentages don't matter as much as deciding beforehand, because the dangerous moment isn't when unexpected money arrives, it's the few hours afterward when your brain starts inventing reasons you deserve to spend it. 7 systems, and suddenly, they all connect. Okuzukai creates a spending ceiling. Kakeibo creates awareness. Cash creates friction. Separate categories create boundaries. Mottainai makes waste uncomfortable. Danshari stops unnecessary purchases before they enter your home. And the windfall rule protects money before it becomes lifestyle. None of these systems require you to become obsessed with saving. They simply make spending slightly harder to do automatically. And that's important because modern finance has spent years removing friction. 1-click shopping, contactless payments, saved cards, buy now, pay later. Everything is designed to make the purchase disappear between wanting something and owning it. These Japanese ideas move in the opposite direction. They put a small pause back into the process, not to make you afraid of spending, not to make you stop enjoying your money, just to make sure the money leaves your account because you actually decided to let it go. And maybe that's the real lesson. Saving money isn't always about wanting less. Sometimes it's about making your decisions visible before your impulses make them for you. Which of these 7 systems would change your spending the most? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.